So this is the problem we were just on. I'll give you guys a second to get your spirals out while I read it to you. Those of you who don't have the packets, you can write these in. Those of you that have them but haven't gotten them glued in yet, you might want to just write down how to solve the problem somewhere so you can put it all together in your notebook at a later point in time. But this says that Mandy read 180 pages in 4 hours. How long will it take her to read a 225-page book at this rate? So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out what the ratio we're given is and what the ratio we're trying to solve is. So in this case, what is the ratio that they give us? Can anybody tell me what ratio they already have told us?
180 divided by 4.
Yep, 180 to 4. Perfect. So we've got one of our ratios is 180, and it's 180 pages to 4 hours. So this is our first ratio. And we know that that's going to be equal to, we're given the number of pages in our second ratio, but we need to figure out the number of hours. So we have 225 pages, and then the one we're trying to solve for we'll label X. That will be hours. So the key thing here is to remember, just like we were talking about yesterday, we've got the same unit on the top and the same unit on the top, and then we've got the same unit on the bottom as we do on the bottom over here. So our units line up, which means we have our ratio correctly. And then from here, we can just cross multiply this and solve it like we would normally. So we'd cross multiply 4 and 225, and then have the 180 in X. And I'll go ahead and let the PowerPoint go through this stuff. So we're doing X is our number of hours. Oops. And then we write the proportion, which is 180 pages over 4 hours equals 225 pages over X hours. We're then going to cross multiply that, which leaves us with 180x equals 900. And then we just divide both sides by 180. And that'll leave us with x equals 5. So our final answer would be that it takes Mandy 5 hours to read a 225-page book. No worries, Brooklyn. Good to have you here, though.
That's some true reading skills right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good, I think. That's what? 45 pages an hour? It's not bad.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're reading.
I could read that book in like 20 minutes.
That would be really impressive.
I mean, I read every single day.
So I'll give you guys a chance to copy this one down, and then we'll move on to the next problem in just a second. Oh, Jackson's back on his cookie thing. He is being realistic. What if it's just like all pictures?
Like a manga? I read the most manga out of everybody here.
No, like just pictures.
No one even knows what that is.
It's just
It's
pictures.
Japanese comics.
I don't know if you. I don't know if
hardly
you've had as many as me. I have literally 100 tabs of it on my phone.
Okay, that's fine, guys.
So what I'm hearing here.
Nope, we're gonna focus on math.
Is dumb
Alice.
comics.
Alice. We are not gonna get in a fight about anime and manga here. We are talking about math.
Are you sure? I'd be.
Yes, Hollis, I'm sure.
Cookies.
All right. Does anybody need more time to write this down? Cool. Let's move on. So the next one says that Alan's map has a scale of 2 inches to 5 miles. Now, just to make sure that everybody knows what we're talking about here, when you have a map, I'm sure you've probably heard about this already in social studies classes. You probably already know it anyway, but you have a scale. So 2 inches on the map in this case is going to be equal to 5 miles in real life. So that's what they're talking about when they're looking at scales here. And we're going to deal with scales a lot more in the stuff we do Thursday. I'm recording Brooklyn because my internet crashed in the last class, so it interrupted the recording from that one. Anyway.
He's a YouTuber.
Yes, it's because I'm a YouTuber. The distance on the map from Mount Hood Meadows to Alan's home is 16 inches. So what is the actual distance in real life? So again, the first thing we want to do is to ask which of the, what ratio they give us to start. So who can tell me what ratio they're giving us?
2 inches to 5 miles.
Correct. 2 inches to 5 miles. And then we know that there's 16 inches on the map. So we have 16 inches here. And we need to figure out X miles right here. So we're going to set this up, and then we're going to do our cross multiplication and solve it out like we would normally. So first we write our proportion, which is what we just did. Then we cross multiply. That gives us 2x equals 80. And then we're just going to divide both sides by 2. That'll give us x is 40. So the actual distance is 40 miles. So again, we're writing out our proportion. We're making sure we know what our x variable is, and then we just use cross multiplication to solve. And in this case, we get 2x equals 80, divide both sides by 2, and we are done. Give you guys a second to write that one down, and then we'll move on to the last notes problem. And then there are a couple of small things I want to talk about from the homework from yesterday. And then we'll be out of here today. Keep it fairly short for you. So does anybody need more time on this one? Okay. So last one says a model car is made with a scale factor of 1 inch to 11 inches, or 1 to 11. The actual car is 7 feet 4 inches long. How long is the model car? So we can start out, we're given a ratio right here. You guys hopefully can all see this one. We're given a ratio of 1 inch to 11 inches. But then here's where we run into a problem. We're not given a unit that is the same for our actual car. In this case, we have 7 feet 4 inches. We can't put that in the bottom because it doesn't have the same units as our actual ratio that we're given. So the first thing we need to do in this case is actually convert our length of the actual car. Yeah, Jay, please stop spamming cookies in the chat. So the last thing we need to do is convert, or the first thing we need to do is convert. Grayson, do you have a question?
Wouldn't you times the 7 by 4?
You would
7 by
times 7, yeah, 7 by 12, and then you would add the 4. So that's correct. We're going to convert 7 feet 4 inches into inches. So we do this by multiplying the 7 feet gets multiplied by 12 because there are 12 inches in every foot. And then we add the extra 4 inches on. So we're left with 88 inches. And now from here, we can actually write out our full ratio. So we know we have 1 inch to 11 inches equals, and then we're trying to figure out the length of the model car. So that's the smaller one. So we're going to have X inches on top. And now we know that it's 88 inches in the full car. So we're going to have 88 inches on the bottom. Now, this ability to convert back and forth and stuff is especially important in science classes. Guys, stop arguing over cookies. Pay some attention, please. So this is going to be especially important in science classes when you're converting from things like centimeters to meters and stuff like that. Luckily, metric system, they give you everything in tens, but this is an important skill to have. So then the rest of it, we've got our proportion. We're going to do our cross multiplication just like we did normally. So we have 1 times 88 equals 11x. Then we can just divide both sides by 11. We get that x equals 8. So we know that our model car is 8 inches long. Okay. You know, you guys are actually like my highest participation class. I will give you that. Okay, so are there any questions about this problem? I'm not getting any questions. Okay, so the last things I want to talk about today are a couple of problems that we're giving some people homework in, or a couple of problems that we're giving people trouble on the homework. There we go. I wordsed correctly. Oh, whoops. Here. So the first thing is basic ratio things. This was something that I'm assuming we just didn't spend enough time talking about again. So like if we had A to 5 equals 7 to 6, right? This is something we talked about a lot before the break, so I kind of glossed over it yesterday. But in case you guys or some people were struggling with it, it's been a long time since we've done it, so I understand why there were mistakes about it, but I just want to go over how to do it again. So in order to do this, all we have to do is set these up as fractions and then do cross multiplication. So we have A to 5. We're going to rewrite that as a fraction, A over 5 equals, we have 7 to 6. We're going to write that as 7 over 6. And then from here, we just cross multiply. So it's not too bad. Multiply here, multiply here. It gives us 6A equals 35. 5 times 7 is 35. 6 times A is 6A. And then we just divide both sides by 6 because 6 is what's in front of the A. And voila, we're done with that one. So we have A equals 35 over 6. You could simplify this. You don't have to simplify this. That's totally up to you. Doesn't really matter in this case. This is perfectly fine. What is a little bit tougher is this problem. So there were other problems that looked something a little bit more like, let's say A to 6 equals 41 over 2 to 7. This is a lot more difficult to solve. The reason is if we try to write these out as fractions, we'd have A over 6, nothing wrong with that one. But then we would have this weird fraction on the top. So we'd have 41 over 2 over 7. This is a really weird fraction. We don't like seeing that. You don't ever want to write a fraction that has multiple fraction bars. So in order to actually solve this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to take both sides of this ratio and multiply them by, in this case, 2, because that's what the denominator is. If the denominator was 5, you'd multiply both sides by 5, whatever it's going to be. Whatever the denominator is what you multiply them by. So we have 41 over 2 times 2. Those cancel out. We're just left with 41. And then we have 7 times 2, which is 14. So now we can rewrite this ratio as 41 to 14. And then from there, it's not too hard to solve. So now we got 41 over 14. Then we do our cross multiplication, which is now really disgusting numbers because of the way I wrote it. So what you'd have 14a equals 246. 6 times 41 is 246. A times 14 is 14a. So then we just divide both sides by 14 and you're done. A equals 246 over 14. So those are the two problems that were giving people the most trouble on the homework. There were a couple of word problems that were also a little bit difficult, but I want to give you guys a chance to try those on your own. So that is all we're actually going to be doing today. If you guys don't have any questions or don't need any help with the assignments, you can take off. The assignment for today is a really short one about solving proportions. So everybody should go try that one now. You should be able to do it pretty easy. But if you don't need any questions or anything else, you can take off. Have a good rest of your day.
See you tomorrow.
Leaf, it looks like you have a question.
I'm gonna go now.
Okay,
Bye.
see you later.
Earlier,
Bye, Twinkle Toes.
Bye, Rogan. What, Leaf?
Thursday, I was doing the first math space that you assigned, and I stopped doing it because I got through a couple of them, but it didn't say that I completed any of them. The bar that shows your completion, it said that I didn't complete any of them.
Peace.
Are you working on the right one, Leaf?
Mm-hmm. I'm working
'Cause
on
it
the
says-
first.
According to mine, it doesn't say you've done any of them.
Mr.
Oh, no, it does. Interesting.
I'm gonna just leave. See you
Okay.
tomorrow.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Mr.
Also,
Cleary,
bye, Brooklyn, I guess. I wasn't trying to ignore anybody. Go ahead, Kahali.
so I have an idea for the broadcast thing, and since Tay's here, she can hear this.
like at the end of
Ah.
class, if you make me the host or something like that, and then we could
I'm
just
still recording. Hold on.